start recording. I'm gonna hit the pad key on this mic over here, and you can actually just be there until Tim gets here, and then you can switch. Oh. And then it looks like there's 3 spots set up for a reason.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time I've jumped out of scene, and won't be the last.
Apparently my printer is on. Oh yeah, actually I remember doing that. It's on half-page mode.
Woot.
Welcome everybody who's watching right now. I'm assuming we're live.
We are.
Judas Brewery live stream.
Turn down
I'm
that.
gonna put a coffee inside my mouth real quick, and then
You get the middle seat.
okay.
And then I'll jump up and grab any beers.
Those of you guys who don't know, sometimes we bring on special guests. This is Tim from Mountain Lakes Brewing Company, and he is going to introduce himself right now.
Hey everybody, Tim Hilton, Mountain Lakes Brewing Company. We've been open about four years now. I'm a brewer and owner there with my partner, Dave Bosrao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into some brewing news and stuff. Tuesday, Peter is going to go be on the Homebrew for Life Hoppy Hour live stream Tuesday at what time?
I don't know, 7, 6, something like that. CH, get on the stream right now so you can tell everybody what time it starts.
Yep.
I think 6. I think it might start before that, but I think 6. Jiang Hakayo, thank you so much for the super chat.
Yep.
Cheers.
For beers that we have on, we have the Not Mai Tai Seltzer is our newest beer. What new beers do you guys have on at Mountain Lakes?
Great question. So we have a Maibach. We have a New Mexican lager.
Wait. Not a New Mexican, like from the state, or like a new?
Yeah, everything's from New Mexico. It's right out of Santa Fe. No, it's a recent Mexican lager. We brewed it with Inland Ale Works from Chini. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. I wish we have some over here. So
Ooh, we're gonna get to try that
we're
soon.
gonna drink it.
Yeah. I don't think there's too many. We put on an IPA from Terminal Gravity.
Yep, we've been making a lot of beer, but selling it very fast. We're also pretty much doing everything on a 2-barrel system here, so not everything is everything goes really fast in 2 barrels. You probably know the feels.
Yeah, we're huge. Actually, we can brew up to 3 barrels at once, but it's 3 separate barrels, so we're pretty fancy.
That is pretty fancy.
Yeah.
Finally, a live stream on the Hoppy Hour. 77 Trans Am guy is brewing. Well, welcome to this live stream, and then we'll see you guys on the CH Homebrew for Life one.
And yes, Tanner, Goat Fest was great yesterday, and it was awesome seeing you and your beer is safely in the beer fridge. So
safely in quotes.
Peter has not touched them yet.
We're doing Washington Brewers Fest in June. If you'd like to support that, feel free to either super chat and say, hey, this is for gas money or whatever. Or you can just say, hey, I'm going to meet you guys up somewhere over there and buy beer off you, and we can send the people going with some Genus Brewing beer. And, hey, Tim, our Tim is here. So,
well, I'm going to hang out until he actually walks in the door.
That's smart. And I have coffee for him. I'm betting he's going to need it.
Yep.
I needed coffee this morning. Bet you guys can't guess why. Washington Brewers Fest. So if you are over in the Seattle area, check us out there.
I will be going over with, I think it's Sky and Jess who were on the live stream last week.
Yeah, and then Warren's going to be over there too. Yeah.
Warren. And we are planning to, that Father's Day is probably going to be a later live stream, just as an FYI, because since Peter's here solo.
I'm probably going to spend that time with my family.
Yep.
And they're going to be doing some stuff over there.
And so, yeah, the Brewers Fest doesn't start until 11 a.m. Pacific time, but me and Jess are talking about how to do some live streaming from the Beer Fest itself.
Yeah.
So, and now there is a Tim.
The pad key on the mixing board is the one with the little light white underliningness.
Okay.
And so, if you hit that pad key, then you'll have regular volume over there.
Lord.
Jason Gannett. Appreciate the help with the faucets yesterday. Heading out to the cabin this morning to install them on the Keyser. Jason Gannett, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm sorry that I wasn't here, but I'm glad to hear that. I think it was Josh that was here. Did such a great job.
Yeah.
We are on 5-barrel naked live stream where we teach you guys how to brew on a 5-barrel completely in the nude. It's happening on the 29th. 29th, right?
Relatively.
Yeah, one of those two. If we can ask Reese nicely enough.
Is it Nude Brewing?
Yeah, that's the new. It's for our OnlyFans.
Hey guys, let me know if
That's
you can hear me.
fantastic.
Not actually naked.
I was gonna say that's dangerous.
We're probably gonna. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So my thought is we're gonna get like fishing style waders,
Yeah.
but the cutoffs. So and then maybe just like some
I like it.
Some nice hip
some
waders.
brewing. I don't know, coverage.
Yeah, I like it.
Tim, I made some coffee. If you want some coffee too.
I got liquid IV.
It's the IVs of liquids.
It's just like an electrolyte. Well,
like it.
but
Nice.
it's actually really nice.
An electrolyte full of addictions, you said?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fantastic.
I did
It
a
cures my
article in
addiction.
Trending
What
Northwest.
my
Trending
addiction
Northwest
gives
is a
me.
new local publication in the greater Northwesty area where I talk about beers. So if you haven't checked that out, check out the Trending Northwest article. And Tim, Wheat, don't tell me, this Thursday you're talking about something kind of exciting, actually.
Yeah, so we have Chris Indrick, who is the host of that show, is starting a craft brewing certificate program at Eastern. And with some help, some donated money from the folks over at No Lies. So we're going to have the president of Eastern there. And we're going to have John Bratton over from No Lie.
Hey, for those who don't know, what is Wheat Don't Tell Me?
Oh, Wheat Don't Tell Me is a monthly podcast. We film it the third Thursday of every month. It's at Mountain Lakes. Starts at 6:30. Doors open at 5:30. So come and we drink lots of beer and we talk about beer and beer things and have some prizes and games and shenanigans. Yeah.
Logan and I were on it once, and we sang and made up a singing song.
We had a contest. Yeah, we had a contest, a jingle contest. I can't remember. Do you know your jingle?
I forget. I have long since
It was
forgotten
really
the jingle.
good. It was really good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good.
It's something about how great Genus
Go back
is.
in the podcast and find it.
That was episode like 3 or something, right? That wasn't it? It was one of the early-ish ones, maybe 5. I don't know. 9.
Look it up real quick.
Anyways, we don't tell me podcast. Man in the chair is probably gonna find it and then maybe link it if you can find it.
Oh, I've already linked the Instagram.
Nice.
So
Awesome. Thanks.
So certificate program happening at Eastern. What's do you know? You work at Eastern, right?
Yeah, I work at Eastern, but I'm not going to be involved in this.
Just gonna watch the Magic
as an
happen?
Eastern employee. As far as I know, and you know, I don't know tons of details, but I think it's like a 12 certificate thing. I think it's going to involve some fundamentals of brewing, but it also is about service and beer styles, sort of beer appreciation. I think the idea is that it's for folks who are interested in the brewing industry, getting introduced to it, and it would be a cool thing to happen if somebody wants to work in brewing, but not necessarily be the brewer.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for that to happen. Actually, having I know the one certificated program that we have in Washington right now is over at Central, right?
As far as I know, and I think that's more focused on
The actual
brewing,
brewing.
And brewing, and I think this may develop into more some component of brewing. I know right now the plan is that some of the brewers over at No Lie are going to show folks the fundamentals of brewing, and I think they might even brew a batch with students.
Oh, cool.
So, I think it's the kind of preparation to give people an understanding of what brewing is and how it works, but I can't imagine that a novice would be a professional brewer by the end of it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, but probably still some good information.
Right.
And you get a crack into the beer industry. Tim, so far we've only mentioned we've only mentioned the Mai Tai seltzer for recent beers out. Was there anything else that's on the docket or about to come out?
Bread beer.
Oh yeah, bread beer. Forgot to put that on.
We just put on Beer Blanche. And the Belgian Brett Pale.
Oh, that'll be fun. I actually been tasting the Belgian Brett beer. It's tasting really good. And the wheat beer. Did we talk about the wheat beer last week?
I think we did.
Oh yeah.
Not 100% sure.
Lots of new stuff coming out. And the bread beer, making the bread video will actually probably be out on the Genus Not Brewing channel in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that. And that covers all our Genus Brewing news, which means it's time for our, you ready?
Yeah.
It's time for our
Beer of the week. Bum, bum, bum. Beer of the week. Bum.
I like it.
And the beer of the week this week is a Berliner. I always love throwing that at people on the live stream. We're talking about a Berliner Weiss. This beer of the week because you have a Berliner Weiss, right?
We just did our first Berliner Weiss, and actually it's probably our first real sour.
Nice.
Because we're not huge sour fans, but we like a little tartness. So Berliner Weiss is perfect for us.
All right, was it a proper Berliner Weiss or a modern interpretation? Because a proper Berliner Weiss should be about the most sour thing you've ever had.
No, it's an interpretation.
Modern one? Okay.
Modern interpretation.
Yeah.
Mine too.
I was actually at Community Pine a couple weeks ago and tasted. I think they had 3 Berliner Weisses on, and
You were inspired?
yeah, well, and we tasted. Talking with the bartender, and I can't remember his name, but he's a brewer as well, and he and I decided that we liked the fake Berliner Weiss the best because it was the cleanest and tartest and the nicest.
Yeah, and what you kind of expect when you're getting into the sour world. You
Yeah.
got the beer standard flavor, you got the sourness, and then whatever flavors you want to throw on top of that.
That's right.
I like it.
Yep.
Overall impression on a Berliner Weiss is it's a very pale, refreshing, low-alcohol German wheat beer with a clean lactic sourness and very high carbonation level.
Right.
A little bit of bread dough, mild flavor supports some of the sourness, which shouldn't seem artificial. Any Brett funk is restrained. If you get into like really, really OG Berliner Weisses, it's really fun because they were
Brett.
They were Brett and they were wild culture. The thing that made them sour wasn't like obviously it wasn't a pure lacto pitch.
Right.
They had, if you've seen the old school bottles, they had like really long neck bottles, and they would actually make like a SCOBY from the fermentation, and it would float up into the necks and then dry out. It'd be like a cork.
That's what I mean by like a traditional to a modern interpretation. Most Berliner Weisses out that you find now, which is all right, is kettle sour wheat beer instead of getting that co-ferment raw lactose Brett fermentation on traditional. But the
mixed
Brett
weirdness.
funk is right. They never had Brett funk even when you have Brett in there. You should be getting Brett acid rather than funk in there.
It's kind of fun that they add at least even mention Brett funk being available, and it's just I mean they said it's restrained, but it's good. It's just fun that they mentioned it in the BJCP. Sometimes BJCP and they take whatever's the mass culture of beer right now, and they don't always just they don't look at where the things came. Well, they know where the things came from, but they describe the beer as of what's on the commercial shelves today.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Right.
Appearance: a very pale, strong color because wheat. Clarity ranges from clear to somewhat hazy. Large, dense white head with pore retention. That would make sense. Always effervescent. So the high carbonation is that's something that's not really talked about in beer.
But very champagne-y. I mean, very lively, high dancing on your palate for that. A lot like Brut carbonation.
Do you play with carbonation levels too much?
We do. And when I say we, I mean Dave, my partner, because after the brewing's done, he's the guy.
He's the cellarman.
He's the cellarman doing all of that. But we do. We measure and we target.
We try to, but also sometimes just whatever goes on is what goes on. If we were to try to be very, very stickler about our own beers, which we're really not, we would probably dial in a lot more than we do. But
the carbonation going into the keg is pretty well dialed into what they should be, but we have the tap lines balanced out to about a really good craft beer level. So sometimes they come out just a little bit more foamy, like the Belgian Strong right now that was carbonated by Brett and super lively. And some of the other ones, like the barley wines, just needed a little bit more help. Come out a little thick, so
and a challenge for us. I mean, that's probably the logjam, if any, is the 3 small bright tanks, and so sometimes you're dealing with time, and we find that I don't know what you guys find this, but the longer brightening tends to give them more. It gives you a little bit more freedom to get the right levels.
And the bubbles, they feel better.
The bubbles feel better. Yeah.
They just dance across the
palate or whatever. That's why we spooned. So I can just
it gets them a little fine in there.
Right.
Shannon Tageron applied essential for his masters. One of those two things. Applied essential for masters. Unfortunately, won't be in brewing, but brewing safety and management.
Cool.
Don't come here. Don't look at us. After you get your safety and management training. I mean, you come here and drink beer, but then just keep your eyes closed on what's going on everywhere else.
We'll put up currents so that we can't see the back.
There we go. Yeah. Aroma on a Berliner Weiss. A sharply sour character is dominant, moderate to moderately high. Can have up to a moderately fruity character, often lemony or tart apple.
Right.
The fruitiness can increase with age, and a light flowery character may develop. No hop aroma. The wheat may present as uncooked bread dough in fresher versions. Combined with the acidity, may suggest sourdough bread, and may optionally have a restrained, funky Brettanomyces character. Do it. Do the funk.
The funk helps it out, but again, with the bread, if it's going to be in there, you're looking for the acid from the bread, not necessarily the funky characteristics. Along with that, the no hop aroma, because traditionally there's absolutely zero hops in a Berliner Weiss. It was traditionally a raw beer. It just went from the mash straight into the fermenter. You aren't adding hops in there because they really mess up the lactose, especially most lactose strains today are not. They don't like hops very much at all. There's a couple out there that do, but most of the common used ones die off somewhere around 4 IBU. So if you're doing a Berliner, I wouldn't even chuck hops into it at all. Just, let the lacto go on it. It'll be tasty.
Yeah. We do a lot of our sours we end up doing raw, partly because it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, we use little hops in our Berliner Weiss.
Yeah. Do you do yours raw, or do you go back into a boil?
Very into the boil. We did a small amount, just of some Hallertauer. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Classic German flavors.
Yeah.
It should also not have any baby diaper, baby barf, or anything like that. Whatever mass-produced Anheuser recently, or not recently, but kind of recently bought Oregon breweries that try and crush that down your throat, having them, barf should not be part of a Berliner Weiss ever.
We never use baby diaper. We use adult diapers.
Yeah,
It
that's
works much better. You get more complexity out of it. If you have butyric acid, dump it down the drain. There's not much you can do about that. Brett will help clean that up, but if you're not working with Brett, that's unfortunate. You should. So if you have barf, don't do it. There's barf in the beers that you order. Don't do it. Send it back. That's a horrible flaw. Don't let these people get away with it.
Mouthfeel, light body, very high carbonation, no sensation of alcohol. I'm ready for beer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got my coffee done. I'm feeling a little bit more jazzed now.
I like it.
Tim's got his liquid IV almost done.
So what is that?
It's
Tim?
actually really good. It's it literally just like in a nice electrolyte drink to
with some aspirin too.
help you get in there. No.
Okay.
Not aspirin, actually, but I mean, it's literally just like cane sugar, dextrose, citric acid, a whole lot of potassium salts in there, potassium citrate,
It's like eating 45
and
bananas.
stuff like that, yeah.
There's
A couple of
some stuff left in
vitamins. So,
Oh, I only spilled a little bit.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
On the way here this morning, I have this little party tap thing, and in my car, the tap was open, and I have beer all over my backseat.
Yeah. This is a snafu is what you could call that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
I was gonna say, are you a brewer if you don't have beer in the backseat of your car?
Yeah.
at least once.
I had one time that I had to slam on my brakes because somebody cut me off on the highway going down to Pullman, and I was
Right.
bringing a carboy full
Yes.
of 9 months aged Brettanomyces Imperial Stout.
Yeah.
And I had to slam on my brakes, and my carboy, even though it was buckled in, went ass over tea kettle. Is that what it's called? Is that the thing?
Yeah.
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 And then, it started like spilling, and so I quickly had to pull off. My first thought was I need to reach down and grab that, and then I realized that I was turning the wheel at the same time I was doing that. And I was like, all right, I need to pull off the road and grab it. I ended up losing about half that beer, which is a bummer because it was really tasty.
That's
But yeah,
right.
my car smelled very beery.
Yeah.
Which one's this one? That's the...
This is the Mexican lager, and it was brewed with pills and a little bit of maize and some lime in the boil.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the lime comes through nicely. Yeah, we were talking about Mexican lagers last week.
Yeah.
Week? And we mentioned that you guys did this, and I think we even mentioned that you guys were going to be on today.
I think so.
Cool.
It's like I have things scheduled out and planned.
I know.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we brewed
Nah.
this with Nick from Inland Ale Works in Cheney, and Yeah, and actually, I think we came the day of brew day and bought a bag of corn from you guys.
Nice. Yeah, it's quite delightful.
Thanks.
Where's the what kind of lime did you use in there?
It was, I think it was called a Costco lime.
Costco,
and,
okay.
5
Very
bags,
rare.
5 bags of the Costco limes, and we were just going to use lime zest, and the Costco limes were kind of small, and our little zesting machine wasn't really working well with them, so we just cut them up and threw them in a bag and threw them in the boil at the end of the boil.
The zesting machine or the Costco limes?
The zesting machine did not go in the boil.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, by zesting machine, I just assumed you meant like child labor or something like that.
That's her name.
It's the best use for them.
So, all right, so she's safe, not in the boil.
She's safe.
Good to know.
No, one of those, one of those peelers.
Yeah,
Right? That
yeah.
Takes the zest off.
So you ended up using some juice too?
Well, yeah, and that was not planned, but I think it actually came out, a fairly good lime level. We thought it might be a little bit too tart, but
No, that's good.
I think it came out pretty well, and we just really threw it in at Whirlpool, I think, for 5 minutes at about 175 degrees, and then pulled them out.
Nice. Yeah, there's some the Pilsner sweetness is definitely it's present, and so having a little bit of the lime. I actually don't get extra acidity, honestly, but a little bit of that lime kind of brightness I think balances with the Pilsner sweetness pretty well.
Yeah, thanks.
Good job.
Yeah, it took a long time to. It was the strangest thing. This is about 3 months old now, and it really took about 6 weeks for it to not look like a wheat. It was so hazy, and still got a tad, but it's much clearer than it was, and we don't exactly know why. We were wondering if the lime could.
You added in the lime juice, that could have been some pectins.
Yeah.
A little bit of pectin haze.
Right.
Especially if you did it in the last part of the boil, catching the heat.
Yep.
The last whatever these are called, Mexican lager that we brewed too took a while to clear out actually.
Did it?
And a lot of our lagers we did that down at the Steel Barrel. This is probably almost a year ago now.
Yep.
A lot of our lagers clear out pretty fast. Yeah.
Did.
But a lot of our lagers down there clear out pretty fast because it's on a bigger scale, so it clarifies naturally from weight.
Our oat cerveza did not. That sucker cleaned out almost immediately.
Yeah, that was fun.
Weird because that was like 30% oats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that cleared out quickly.
The golden naked oats we were using to experiment. Threw it on a K Bueno with just Pilsner malt, Heidelberg malt with it, and I mean that it cleared out in almost a week or two.
Yeah, I blame Imperial for making good yeast.
Yeah. Well, and I mean also probably enzymes and doing 12-hour mashes and protein rest and shit like that.
Tanner just commented that his Mexican lager took a while to clear out too.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And his Mexican lager is also here. Liquid IV will save your life. Shannon Tageron.
I mean,
trust me, I've needed it a handful of times too. We're out. It's expensive though. It's like a 30-pack's like $40 or something like that on Amazon.
So they should send some to us.
I mean, it's appropriately priced, and we are also actively looking for sponsors. So, someone out in the internet world, if you want to email Liquid IV for us.
I mean, a Liquid IV for every live stream show sounds like it could make it more entertaining.
That's true.
And lively.
Yes. For sure can help cure us. Would you ever use dried fruit in lieu of zest or fresh/frozen fruit? Pamela Hockle had that question. I don't know. I'm very ADD this morning, and so I'm kind of jumping around between what we're talking about. Dried fruit in lieu of zest. Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, you get different flavor compounds out of the dried fruit than you do the zest. It's actually, when you buy from your local homebrew stop, sweet orange peel, bitter orange peel, I mean, technically that's dried fruit peel. You are getting a little more oils than water out of those, so they're more intense than using actual orange peels. But as far as the fruit flesh itself, I mean, you get less water content out of it, but it's a different flavor that also comes out of it. It's not a fresh flavor anymore, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with using it. The frozen fruit that's out there is pretty great to use because it's already frozen. Cell walls are broken down. Just make sure they don't coat the fruit in anything to preserve it or keep it fresh, not chunky to each other. because that could severely affect your brew, like citric acid. That's a huge one that's fruits are coated with. Keeps them fresh, and you can't really taste it, but it could change the pH of your beer enough to kill yeast. Other than that, those are pretty darn good to use. If just keep in mind the flavor of the fruit that you're adding in and the flavor you want to come out, and tailor what you're using to get that.
I would say as if this was a great transition into topic number 1.
Well, I mean, we were still on like flavor.
No, but
Almost there.
Almost there. You ever used dehydrated fruit?
I've never used dehydrated fruit, as far as I know.
I don't know if I think I have from I've used raisins in one of the beers, and that's about my only. And that just
We
came through,
forced
like, extra
Logan
sweet.
to use raisins in like the very first Willet brew.
Yeah.
I've used raisins in my cookie stout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's definitely not a fresh flavor. It's like added sweetness.
I'll say one of my favorite beers out there,
Red beer.
Freak Cake, uses dates, figs, raisins, and like dried cherries and stuff like that in it, and it is an amazing beer. So it 100%. I mean, use it. Just keep in mind if you eat it and you like that flavor, that's the flavor going into your beer. So if you like it, do it. Put it in your face.
Yeah. Comments: light body, high carbonation. If it's got bread in it, it's going to clarify. We're back on Berliner Weisses, by the way. For those of you following along, especially if you're not watching.
All right, we're on what flavor? Flavor. I think we're on flavor.
I thought I just talked about flavor. That was the last thing I talked about. We're on mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel.
Light body, high carbonation, no sensation of alcohol, crisp and juicy acidity. Brettanomyces, especially on a light-bodied beer, these things start at what, 1032 at the highest OG, maybe a little bit higher. If you're doing the American thing, which I love to do, which is make things bigger, like Texas. I don't know what I'm saying. But Brettanomyces will dry all these out, which is going to make them very, very low body. So even with the high carbonation, the head should fall.
Right.
And if you have an oversized glass, if you're one of the glass snobs that does the giant glasses, you can actually trap in a lot of extra aroma and flavor in one of those. Just fill the entire thing up and plan on drinking half of a thing full of beer after the head falls. Then get your face in there.
It's a good idea. We use mostly shaker glasses because they stack.
Yes.
We have a small space.
That's very understandable. We got that little thing so we can kind of organize, do some stemware, make us look a little fancy.
That is pretty. Yeah. We do have some glasses this size, which can be nice, but you don't want this size of a Berliner Weiss. You want
large.
That actually really depends on if you have some nice simples to mix with it, and then I want a flight of Berliner Weisses, all different flavors.
Yeah. So right now we have a raspberry and a woodruff.
Thank God.
That we're using, and
Yes.
I'm surprised the woodruff has really been pretty popular.
It's so good.
It is good.
Especially with a proper Berliner Weiss, woodruff is amazing in it. More people need to actually get over the fact that it's bright green and use it.
I'd like to see what it tastes like outside of the syrup, because, to me, it tastes like like lemon lime lifesaver is what I get from it.
I bet you in a tea. A tea would be
a tea would be a way to see what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little spice shop that's close to us might have some in there, actually.
We can maybe just collaborate a beer with them and then see if they can order it in if they don't have it.
They would probably be willing to do that. They're awesome little ladies down there. They're sisters. I forget the true name of it because it was Spice and Vine for a long time, and it's like tea and something else right now. Look it up, man in the chair. They gave us actually, and that'll be important for the bread beer. They gave us the Nigella seeds, the pre peppers, and the Basar seasoning for that. And was actually one of the ladies in there helped me out really well to find good Egyptian spices to throw in that beer. So
L's Tastes and Tea Market.
L's Taste and Tea. They have some amazing spices in there. They'll order things in for you if they can get it. As well as some awesome balsamic vinegars and oils, great teas and everything like that. Plus, while you're there, you can go down to Steady Flow and have some beer as well.
Yeah.
So,
did you know that in Germany, a Berliner Weiss is classified as a shank beer, denoting a small beer of starting gravity in the range of 7 to 8 Plato? Often served in addition with a shot of sugar syrups. Mitschus, flavored with raspberry. Himbeer, woodruff. Waldemeister, or caraway, schnapps, Kummel.
that could be really interesting.
Caraway?
caraway schnapps.
To kind of a substantial sourness, and has been described by some as mostly pure, the most pure and refreshing beer in the world.
And I could honestly...
Stefan Stoudemire, confirm or deny that?
Yeah. Well, they're really hard to find in Germany. No, well, because of Reinventing. This is a beer that is pretty much half, if not mostly, wheat. And Reinventing plus the lacto fermentation, Reinventing kind of killed that a little bit.
Yeah, they just need to get over that. They didn't even know what bacteria was when Reinheitsgebot got started.
I mean, at least let these amazing traditional styles come back in, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would agree with that. A nice low alcohol Berliner Weiss, I would drink all day. They're so nice.
That's part of the fun of it being low alcohol is you can drink it all day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We did it for a beer tasting with Alpine Deli on 3rd Avenue in Spokane. And,
nice.
The owner, I'm blanking on her name, but she's a German woman and wanted us to make a Berliner Weiss. So paired with her meal and pretty well.
How was the meal? What was in it?
That's a good question. I was working the tap room, so.
Oh no!
So,
there's a good meal and there's a good beer.
My partner was over there. Apparently, it was really good. I had a meal of popcorn that day.
That's not as good.
Right.
Was Alpine Deli? I haven't been there. Tim, have you been to Alpine Deli?
I have a long time ago. I mean, years ago.
Right.
They've been around a long time. I've also back when they actually had like their deli shop open over on Monroe.
I see. On Monroe. They were on Monroe.
Not Monroe. Well,
3rd, isn't it?
whatever that one is.
Yeah.
I call it Monroe. Maple?
Oh, okay.
Is it?
I don't know.
Maple? I don't know. It's been
I've never been
it's
there.
probably coming up on like maybe 10-ish years or so.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. But I love their stuff. They do a lot of cool stuff for people around all over town that's awesome. I know they make Wisconsin burgers buns, I think.
Oh,
Was
okay.
Alpine? I might be false about that.
That's possible.
But they're delicious. They make great things. I'm always excited to have something from Alpine.
And they have beer on tap too, so they're putting the Berliner Weiss on tap, or is that just like
No, I think it was just for that pairing. I don't think they have a liquor license.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, we can help them out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Historically
Get them
speaking,
one.
a regional specialty of Berlin, referred to by Napoleon's troops in 1809 as the Champagne of the North,
Yep.
due to its lively, elegant character. At one point, it was smoked and used to be Mart's in strength, 14 Plato originally, which is 14 Plato. That's like 1056 or 5 or something like that.
Oh, especially going dry. That
Increasingly rare in German, but some
Oh,
American craft
bit of
breweries now
alcohol.
regularly produce. Yeah, we kind of already talked about that.
Like,
Go America!
That might be fun to make a 14 Plato Berliner.
Try to do the historical Champagne of the North.
But maybe do a lot of it through some good decoction, long boil, Maillard reduction.
Do we know any really short Germans that can dress up like Jon Snow?
Maybe.
I don't know. I know some short people that we could pretend they're German.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We can call him the Napoleon of the North. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a
something
joke in
like
there
that.
somewhere. I almost made
There
it.
is.
Characteristic wheats, ingredients: wheat malts, typically half the grist. When we do ours, I think we just usually do wheat and pilsner. Is that pretty much what you do?
Wheat and Pilsner, I think we probably did a 60-40,
Okay.
mostly to avoid
stuff.
sticky mashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the extra gummies. Symbiotic fermentation with top fermenting yeast and lactobacillus. Various strains provide some sharp sourness, which might be enhanced by a blending of beers
Yep.
of different ages. Hop bitterness is nose. Decoction mashings with the mash hops is traditional. German brewing scientists believe that Brettanomyces is essential to the correct flavor profile, but its character is never strong. Again, there's a lot of recent iterations of it. They're kind of popping up all over there. But overall, it's a nice, refreshing Champagne of the North.
We used a Kolsch yeast with some lacto.
Yeah, so nice and clean.
Yep.
Keep it delicious.
They just mentioned something about?
It's right below it. Style comparison.
Oh,
Compared to Lambic, it's generally not as acidic and has a clean sourness with restrained to below sensory threshold funk, also lower in alcohol content. And honestly, this is a beer I would not compare to a Lambic because of everything else that goes into a Lambic. There's more complexity, structure, and acids that are in there, longer fermentation times for it. And in the Berliner Weiss, it's just that nice, light, and refreshing. The Brett, and it really shouldn't, again, is adding to the acid. It's converting other flavors back into more of that acid, bright flavor rather than any funk going into it at all. I mean, I kind of agree with the German brewing scientist. Brett adds to the character of it too, fermenting out some proteins to make it even cleaner, a little bit less meaty in there. And again, that's turning it into acid rather than any of the funk. So comparing it to Lambic, don't, because those are two wildly different beers. They both have acid in them. There you go. That's a similarity.
Yeah. Mash hopping they also mentioned, and that mash hopping, by the way, can be a whole new topic because now there's Omega just did an entire series on mash hopping, so we should talk about that, but not right now. I'm making a mental note so all you guys out there in the world can remind me.
Do you guys do a lot of mash hopping?
No.
Somebody was telling me, I saw a video on this, and somebody said they did an experiment where they added hops to the mash, and then they took another, in the other boil, or the other mash, they threw the hops away, and they said they got the same impact.
So the the thing that Omega just came out with basically says that there's a way to do a mash hopping. So we don't do mash hopping partly because we want to give our grain to farmers, and hops are poisonous to cows.
Don't feed animals hops.
Yeah,
it is not good for them.
No bueno. But the Omega video went into a little bit how you can use the mash hoppings specifically with certain yeasts that will phthalate compounds to actually post-fermentation or during fermentation express the hop compounds. So there's a way to make it actually have an impact, but it's a much larger topic that I honestly haven't even researched that much, and so there's some fun stuff there, but I think that needs to be a separate video.
Yeah.
Something to think about. Let's talk about adjuncts in beer. You guys threw donuts in beer, right?
We have not thrown donuts in beer. We made a donut beer.
You made a donut beer, okay.
Yeah, but it didn't have any donuts in it.
What do you use to get the donut flavor? If that's not a trade secret.
No, it's we think we're the first brewery to ever use this milk sugar. We call it lactose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We use lactose. We use vanilla, and we use maple to create a maple donut beer, or a maple bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the trick to making it taste like a donut is artificial extracts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We are all for artificial extracts. And natural extracts too, but whatever it takes.
Yeah.
We like to as naturally get as close to flavors as possible.
Right.
And then if we need to kick it across the line, kick it across the line with a little flavor.
And when you're going for an artificial flavor like a maple bar donut.
Yeah. Tastes nothing like actual maple.
Yeah, that's right. Basically it was a sort of a pale ale with a bunch of lactose in the boil, and then at brightening, vanilla and maple extract.
Yeah, lactose beers, for those of you who don't know, are when the brewmaster is a double amputee. He only has his arms.
He's lacking
Lactose.
toes.
Yeah. Dad jokes. Yeah. Dad jokes.
Good one.
That was so talking about not stranger, but atypical adjuncts. Because normally you think about adjuncts as oats or all the different grains that you can add in there. Bread, like we added bread into the beer that we did Friday. But there's a range of other adjuncts out there that are they're flavor builders. Yeah. Like we've done like monk fruit sugar. Same kind of thing as lactose. It's going to not ferment until it builds sweetness, but just in a different way.
Right.
But yeah, flavor extracts. We use a decent amount of them.
Yeah, we have a beer now. It's a strawberry basil light wheat beer. That's meant to be a one-off, but it was popular, so we do it every year.
You got sucked into doing it multiple times.
Well, that's it. And I think initially we had a guy working our tap room, Eddie, and Eddie asked us to brew a vanilla beer, and we said, "Great, we'll do it." And he had tried one. I can't remember.
Cali Creamin, probably.
Yes, yeah. And he said, "Can you do something like that?" And we did, and it was popular. So it's something we have constantly now. We have all the time.
Yeah.
So probably our second biggest selling beer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a people in the brewing world, I think usually it's like whatever IPA you have is the number one.
Right, that's right.
And then maybe something light is number two. That's
Right.
like brand like neutral.
Right.
Do you guys have Bud Light? Yes, we do.
And then we become known as the people who put a bunch of shit in our beer.
Yeah. I think it's a fun way to do it, though.
Which is
We
okay.
got kind of known as like a weirder brewery too. We like to not give people. Well, no, we like to give people shit that come in that ask for certain beers or ask for if they ask for like a
Right.
like Mac and Jacks or something like
Right.
that, or if they come in and they ask for a beer that they had like 4 months ago, because we don't make the same beer twice.
Right.
So we just tell them, no, it's probably not on. And they're like, what? I really like that. I had one guy tell me, he says, I'd come in a lot more often if you guys had. And he found, here's the thing, he found a new beer that he liked.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're almost done with this, so this beer's probably never coming back. And he's like, well, if you made this one again, like I'd come in here a lot more often. And I just said, you're probably just not the right customer for us then.
That's right.
Okay.
It is a funny thing. We have a lot of folks coming in who are saying, listen, I'm visiting, I'm in the Northwest, I want to drink IPAs. And they have an IPA, and then we give them a sample of, our vanilla beer, which we're going to trace in a second, or we have a raspberry version of that. It's basically the same beer with raspberry puree. And suddenly they love it. And, you just wonder, some people don't really know what they like. I think other people just haven't explored. Right?
There's a lot of people who get stuck into a lot of keywords or drinking things because that's the beer you should be drinking. You can look in the wine world. Sideways came out. Everybody needed to drink Pinot Noir.
And you couldn't drink Merlot, right?
Well, yeah, like really, why? Why can't you drink Merlot? Well, because it was in a movie that Paul Giamatti told me I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a stupid one that he was into. I was going to bring up like Independence Day, but I don't think he's in that.
He's not in that,
like
no.
movies are there for entertainment purposes only. Come on, son. Like it's okay, and it's okay. Sometimes people don't know what they want. They're like, oh yeah, I really love citrusy IPAs, and you're like, you just described pretty much every single IPA. Thanks, dude. Somebody in a bar told you this is a super citrusy IPA. It's what makes it unique, and they're trying to sell you a beer.
And that's a person that was taught talking points by their manager. It's,
Exactly.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's why I like beer novices coming in, because they don't know what they like, but they don't have any preset notions of what they should like.
You get to set them on a different path.
Yeah.
Yeah, movies and TV. They're getting knowledge from movies and TV is great for randomly winning at Jeopardy questions. Not great for dictating your life. Fun fact.
You know, I mean, generally, I do.
The generally.
King of the North.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the opposite of that.
I do tend to live my life by the Princess Bride, though, because that just seems
There's
accurate.
wisdom in that one.
That's
Yeah,
real.
that's-
That
yeah.
place exists, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
What, Narnia?
Well,
That too.
I don't think that's called Narnia.
no. I mean, depending on which way you think about it and what you believe in, then Narnia exists. Yeah. It just is a shining giant being instead of a lion. But no. The flaming
But will that
swamps.
shiny giant
and-
being get mad at you if you pet him?
That is a great question.
Philosophical questions here, guys.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
There's a Warren in chat.
Warren, what up? All right, let's go.
No
back
more
to-
runs now. I mean it.
I think we've talked a lot about adjuncts. If you guys got more questions on adjuncts, by the way, we've talked a lot about where we get a lot of our flavorings from. It's Vanilla, and we get extracts from Vanilla and use it for a lot of stuff, incling our seltzers, especially.
Extracts for vanilla, you said?
Well, just
Vanilla is the name of the
Vanilla,
company. Right, so
Vanilla,
Vanilla
yeah.
covers that. We make a cream soda with that vanilla.
So
Goes into some of our beers.
we've used a natural.
Because it's fucking close to water. Sorry, it's Reverend KY. Why is Coors Light like having sex in a canoe? All right, so I came by this as a Monty Python joke from like the 70s, and they were doing the Bruces. Hey, Bruce, why is American beer like having sex in a canoe? Because it's fucking close to water. Ah, I love it every time. Every time.
All right,
Sorry.
continue.
Pretty good.
Vanilla. No, you're talking about the.
Oh, vanilla, yeah. So we've used a paste, we've used an actual extract, and we've used the straight up fake extract. And honestly, I don't know that people know the difference. And
What is this one? Then? Is this tastes to me like it could be the paste.
Oh, good.
It tastes like
it's the fake.
It's the fake. It's got some real vanilla quality to it. I can almost get a little bit of maybe an alcohol.
And it doesn't
notes.
have the woodiness underneath, and it's very flat on the bottom. Very high notes and butterscotch, but it's flat on the bottom, and it doesn't have the wood.
Yeah.
It's a fun beer though. I can drink a lot of it.
We, I did just some internet research on baking and some studies, and Americans prefer fake vanilla extract to real vanilla extract in baking, and
because of that butterscotchy flavor that's in that.
Well, and if you're going to make, you're ordering a lactose vanilla beer, I don't know that people are trying to avoid the butterscotch sweetness.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
That's when using ours, and like our cream soda legitimately is water, sugar, and vanilla. And I use a blend of Tahitian, Madagascar bourbon vanillas, and then their base vanilla flavor, which basically Vanilla takes all of their vanillas from all their different farms, takes the beans that nobody will buy because they're ugly, mashes them all up into a round vanilla. And they call it a vanilla flavor. It's all still vanilla, but the way that they put it together, it's pretty much exactly this. And it's that vanilla ice cream, huge, round, kind of butterscotchy vanilla.
Right.
I can't use Mexican vanilla, or I can't use Tahitian vanilla in those, because people will be like, it's just not the same. And you're like, you're getting a better vanilla here, people. But I love that vanilla. That's actually one to look. All right, a gallon of it is $128. So stupid cheap. And wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, the fake extract, the gallon of the fake extract is more in the lines of about $20.
Yeah.
That is a difference. But how much do you use a larger quantity of it per batch? How much do we use for a half barrel of cream soda?
A half barrel of cream soda, I use like 8 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just under a pint per barrel.
Okay, so that's pretty much the exact same ratio.
Relatively the same.
Yeah, or and we did this last in a 10 barrel, and I think it was 1 gallon, and it was sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you happen to know where your vanillin is extracted from?
Yes, the URM.
For those of you that don't know, have fun on the internet today. It's one of my favorite facts about vanillin and where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I will say that the stuff that's used in the food industry normally does not come from that particular source, and I'm not going to give it away. You guys need to go look it up. It's absolutely wonderful. Most of the time in the food industry, it actually comes from wood sources and things like oak and stuff like that. But yeah, the main extract for vanillin. Go have fun with that, guys.
Yeah. While you're Googling, though, also, if you want to know where lemon extract comes from, go to lemonparty.com and then, look that up.
Lemon Party?
Yeah.
All right. I'm guessing it has nothing to do with lemon extract.
Let's go to some questions.
Reverend KY is taking a liking to almond extract when he couldn't get vanilla to do what he wanted. I like that idea.
Almond extract's pretty good.
I love almond extract too. Almond is beautiful. I love almond stuff. So.
Esteban Andrade Z. Hello, folks. Would you recommend adding natural lactic acid instead of using mixed fermentations? Recommend add natural lactic acid?
So adding lactic acid directly to your mash or your bright tank, I mean, you can add it to your boiler at any point. I suppose you could do that.
Yeah, I've always, for people who have done that in the commercial world, I've always noticed that it tastes a little bit less, less complex, less.
It is way more linear. There aren't as many flavor esters that go through fermentation that are attached to it. If you do it, if you're adding sourness in there, I wouldn't say a straight lactic, mostly lactic, and then maybe hit it with a little bit of something like citric or malic at a very low level so you can build some different complexity and kind of take it away from a single linear note. If you want to build straight lactic naturally, then do the actual kettle souring method and don't go mix firm. Just hit it with the lacto by itself, let it sour for a minute, and then come back and hit it with sack.
Hit it with some sack.
Although I did read an article about that. It was written by a guy who won an award with his Berliner Weiss, and people were very excited about the complexity, and he came out later and said it was entirely lactic acid at bottling.
So there's a way to do it.
There's a way to do it. Yeah.
You got to just really there's probably a decent amount of trial and error. We've used lactic acid on a handful of occasions for different purposes, but that usually comes with not making a Berliner Weiss for us. It's like, hey, do we want to turn this sour? We want to like fruit this sour or this IPA or random beer, and so we add lactic acid to kind of bump the sourness up for the fruit.
It's almost always in conjunction with other acids, trying to mimic the acids that are in fruit to make the fruit taste more real. Make the extracts have that complexity that real fruit does in there. Pamela Hackelhead. Sorry, I got distracted by this and I love the idea, but it's also something about almond I need to add on to. I'm considering adding orgeat almond syrup, or Zed, I think is how you actually say it.
Is what I always say.
But you have to say it with the French, so it's
Orgeat.
Orgeat. You imply the T without saying it.
Tanner's asking about blue waffle extract.
Yeah, don't.
Blueberry waffle. I don't know what that means, but that sounds great.
Google it. Google it. Just Google that. Anyway.
Blue waffle extract?
Yeah. No, I'm on a rant.
Okay. Right.
You guys should Google that. You should not. She's considering adding almond syrup to an imperial stout. Wonderful, wonderful idea. Also, along with that, if you find that you're not quite getting the almond impact that you're wanting, little tiny touches of cherry extract will help pump the almond up into a bigger range. It's cherry and almond are extremely close together, and if you want to make a cherry flavored thing, a little bit of almond in there. If you want to make a more intense almond, a little bit of cherry in there can help out. If you are aging on cherry fruit, save the pits, age on the pits, and that's going to give you a really nice Amaretto flavor going along with it and boost your cherry flavor too. So Pamela, that sounds absolutely amazing. Don't go overboard on it because almond can get out of control pretty damn quickly. But if you're finding you're not quite getting the roundness out of it, just tiny little touches of cherry could really help that out.
I like that idea. I did a dark cherry beer. It also has some coffee in it, and added a little almond, and it really did accent the cherry. It's perfect.
Yeah. It just brings it up into a bigger, richer, rounder flavor. Makes some more complexity instead of one-dimensionalness. So, yeah. All right. I think there were some way up here.
Yeah, there's a lot about the sour stuff that was kind of answered each other. So there was some talking about using Kveik.
One mention, I just ran across this original culture of Kveik that contains bacteria to co-ferment a wheat beer. Would you still add lacto? I would add lacto before the Kveik, probably a day before the Kveik, so it actually has time to work.
Kveik will punch lacto in the face very quickly.
Yeah. Some of them will kill it. Yeah. Other ones will just ferment out faster than the Kveik can actually, or the lacto can actually move, and you won't get very much tart or sourness because there's nothing.
Too tart over time, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
If it dries it out too much, then all that tartness gets extra. Yeah. My biggest thing would be depending on the lacto strain and what you're making. I guess in a Berliner Weiss probably wouldn't matter all that much, but having the alcohol just inhibit the activity of the lacto in the first place.
Yeah.
Plus, it'll be competitive. Shannon Tageron. I'm going to say for sure that's how I pronounce that name. Genus, bring your hands down. The best brewing channel I watch. Yes.
Nice.
That's right.
That's all. That wasn't a question.
That was just a statement. It's just a matter of fact. Tanner Cole, I mean, I know this is a statement for something else. What's the closest thing to Coors Light that you've got? You hear that one all the time. I specifically make Genus Tone Light because of that, and not even kidding. The thing is half flaked rice, and people absolutely love it, and it thrills the ever-living poop out of them, and keep coming in and do it. And since it's craft, they don't complain that it's $6 a pint. And like, cool, you could have this great, delicious beers up here for the same price, or you go for this. You come to Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my soapbox for the day.
The first iteration of the Genus Stone Light was a really fun experiment. The very first one that we did, we tried to do a completely raw light lager.
Oh yeah.
So just break all the rules. So it was a hazy grist. It wasn't even wasn't even normal grist. It was a bunch of wasted grains. And then we ended up doing it raw, adding like enzymes to the mash, adding clarity firm during fermentation, adding clarifiers at the end of it, and just like everything we could do to clear it up and get a light lager out and clarified in 6-7 days.
I think it was when Lutra first started to really come around.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, let's do this. Let's push it. And it was great. And I mean, legitimately, these people are getting, most of the time I still do that with Genus Stone, and they're getting an incredibly well-crafted beer that's not easy to make, that also just happens to taste like Coors Light. And, you could have tried everything on the board, and instead of trying something, you go immediately for a light lager.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's one of the things that irritates me sometimes is I don't care if you don't like any of the beer, but at least put it in your mouth before you decide you don't like it. You may have tried an IPA once. That doesn't mean that his IPA tastes exactly like our IPA. It could be something way different, way better. And
yeah, ours is way better.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Right? Well, I mean, it really could to your flavor buds, and 100%. You can't be turned off just because of what somebody else did, especially if you're unwilling to try something, man. That's just unfortunate for your life, I guess. Go.
I was going to say, not close to Coors Light, we have a Japanese lager right now, cold crashing, and we've tried it. It tastes delicious. So, I mean, it really is just it's jasmine rice and Pilsner malt. And it's very dry, and it's going to be great. I mean, it's
Does the jasmine come through?
It does. It's funny. It's like tasting a Budweiser on crack. I mean, everything is just
better.
It's just better.
Yeah, I mean, everything kind of just feels
Like
better when
you're on crack, and then you taste Budweiser, so it's much better. That's what we're talking about. Are you open on Sundays?
Yes. Somebody came to the tap room once, and they said something like, "Oh, reds are my crack," and I'm like, "Oh." They're like, "What's your crack?" And I'm like, "It's crack."
It's crack.
The real one.
I was gonna say, I just remember when my mom made Oreo truffles for a family friend and gave them, and he's like, "Oh, these are better than crack." And then my mom immediately turned to his young kids, and he's like, "Not that your dad's ever done it."
Wink.
Wink.
Warren,
No, but you should actually say, yeah, your dad's done crack, and you shouldn't do crack because you should just eat these because he knows, and they're better.
Right.
See?
Warren Gillis. Gillies?
Yeah.
Giles.
When adding things to beer like breakfast cereal or things that have sugars, how do you account for those sugars in a recipe? I usually just take the weight, pretend it's sugar, and then I divide by 80, take 80% of it or something like that, because there's other stuff that's not just sugar in there or fermentables.
Yeah, I think I do something similar. I imagine what it would be if it were grain, and say I'm getting 60% of that or something.
Yeah.
It's usually about right. And if it's not right, I pretend it is and tell you that's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. The world is what we make it.
Doing cereal beers and stuff like that, you can 100% do it. Look at what's in there. You can put those into a lot of recipe builders as far as like the base grains. Take the grams of sugars per servings, multiply that all out with math, put it into your recipe, and you'll get a heck of a lot of work for an approximation of, hey, if I'm using cornflakes, I can just say it's flake corn and take a gravity reading and see how wrong I was.
I'm dyslexic, so that adds up to me.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, those two things are the exact same thing. But, I don't know. What's the one with the frog? Because those are puffed rice.
Snaps.
Sugar snaps.
Sugar snaps?
Yeah, those are so good. So, I mean, like, sugar snaps, that's puffed rice. Count it as flaked rice in there. Add a little bit extra for the sugar on the outside, and away you go.
Crunch berries, I think, would be a nice one. You guys ever use those?
We did in one beer, and it ended up tasting. I don't think we ended up tasting it that much. The berry flavor.
Yeah, well, I think you have to use the Oops All Berries rather than the actual Crunch Berry Captain Crunch.
Yeah. Does all berries? Is there something?
I believe I've seen it at URM.
Oh, really? URM.
That's your favorite store, I think.
It is my favorite.
It's one of my favorites too.
We do things there.
Right?
In the back room.
I'm excited.
In boxes.
I have not done a cereal beer aside from using some corn
Beer for
flakes
your
or
morning.
something. Yeah. but I'm excited to try a Fruity Pebble beer. I haven't done that.
Is that something you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Is it? So I haven't done it. I would like to do it. For the Love of God had one. I don't know if that was it
Fruit
Fruity
Loops.
Pebble? It was Fruit Loops. Yeah.
It was.
And I liked it.
It was indistinct. I mean, it was so much like drinking the milk afterwards. I think it just we kind of lost a little bit because it was all of it mashed together.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad. I mean, I did enjoy that one. Actually, I drank it. I drank 2 of them. But yeah. But, I mean, if you ever really need to have an excuse to do a cereal beer, I know some people who do it and could collab with you on it.
I love that idea. Yeah. I do like your Count Chocula beer. It's
Reese's Puff is coming out. Oh, that's Genus Brewing news. If you guys are still here, you are going to get the secret news now at the end of the show. So this week we're going to have a release of Reese's Puff Porter coming out that we do with Natural 20, made with Reese's Puff cereal. Should be coming out on the 18th. We might even throw on a last keg of the barrel-aged version of that. I believe our chef extraordinaire is going to have a new cheesecake special. Maybe a wrap. I know he's been working with some peanut sauce. At least I saw peanut sauce back there, and I've been eating it. But yeah, so this week we're coming out with Reese's Puff Porter. So
it is Trigon. I didn't put Trigon on. That just naturally came on after whatever I did put on.
Because it's awesome and should always be on.
Yes, you'll have cheesecake with chocolate and peanut butter drizzle.
Yeah. Oh, maybe if I go over to URM, I'll get you some of those Reese's crumbles.
He's probably gonna say yes to that.
Fruity Pebble beer, though, that sounds really great. I mean, like,
I think
there's
Fruity
so
Pebbles
many.
are a great cereal.
I love Fruity Pebbles. Yeah. I do. There's so many great directions you could go from that too. I mean, IPA, cream ale will be all right. Sour honestly jumps into my mind as well.
Yep.
That'd be. What kind of color would that be though?
Which one? A Fruity Pebble?
A Fruity Pebble.
It's
like,
a rainbow of colors.
I know.
I don't know how you get a striped beer.
I mean, there's probably a way.
Layering.
We tried to do glitter, the rainbow glitter, but we didn't add enough. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
The glitter was. It was a collab we did with Millwood. We did two beers, and they were basically sort of some kind of fishing theme, and one was meant to look like, like a rainbow trout sort of thing, and the other was like, I don't know, it was a black beer with gold flakes.
Yeah.
And I think the trick is you got to spend more money on more.
Yeah, the trick to doing anything
sprinkles.
better pretty much is just more money.
More money.
Yeah.
More Flavor has a gold glitter now that's actually pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Beer glitter.
Yeah.
I love using fruit in my beer. The last red was a dragon fruit beer and turned out a nice shade of red. Dragon fruit would be a fun one.
Oh.
I didn't know that was very colored though. It doesn't seem like
Yeah.
the colorist of things.
But dragon fruit?
Yeah.
If you actually
very
use
dyed?
the skin, so I've seen this and I really want to try it. Is people peeling off the actual outside of the skin of the dragon fruit,
Right.
and then making teas out of it, and it is absolutely gorgeous color. If you had enough of them, I believe you could probably actually flavor it really well. I would just maybe be worried about the tannins going along with that. If they're making a tea out of it, is it more fruit? Is it more tannic? Are you going to have to use so much it detriments to beer for the color?
Right.
But I've seen it and it's gorgeous and I want to do it.
I've used beets for red. We did probably the most extract beer, not extract, sorry, the most adjunct beer we've done is Red Velvet Cake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And involves lots of roasted beets, basically steeping in the wort prior to boil, and then chalaka is how you say it, right?
Chalaka.
Chalaka and some vanilla, and maybe even a little bit of coffee. And it it tasted like you were eating a cake. And believe it or not, that was our Ales for ALS beer one year.
Oh, nice.
Which we sprinkled with a few other hops.
Yeah.
Because we were doing a beer for a friend of ours who died from ALS a year ago now, and we were going to do an IPA and name it after him. And his wife said, he didn't like IPAs, and I was like, well, what did he like? And she told me he really was a fan of Dark Persuasion.
Oh, okay.
And she said, can you do that, but do it red, because he loved red velvet cake. And we're, of course we can do that, right? So,
obviously.
Yeah.
Easy.
So, as far as we know, we had the only Ales for ALS red velvet cake beer.
There you go.
We got that going for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Johnny Young. No, there is a white fruit or a red fruit. He's talking about the dragon fruits, and actually I've seen this too, that the flesh on the inside was red.
Oh.
And I have
the
seen
dragon
that
fruit?
before.
Yeah.
That's cool. You should send us some so we could test it. Not the beer, but also the beer, but also the fruit.
Are you getting a lot of red from the dragon fruit? Like a lot of red color?
You might
I've never used it.
Yeah, I mean, he did.
He
Did.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
yeah.
cinnamon toast crunch beer would be
nice
good.
shade of red,
Yeah.
So.
Cinnamon toast crunch beer would be good, and it is good, especially when your minions make it and they actually succeed. It was a delicious beer. We did that. Shannon Tegeron, would peanut butter cups come through in a stout better than PB powder? And maybe,
No,
but
it'd be
no,
tough to
you
use.
don't want to use them because of
Oil?
the fat and oil.
Oil, yeah.
Oil's the enemy of yeast.
That PB powder is pretty good. We do a peanut butter and jelly beer, and we used a good amount of the PB. I think it was PB2.
Yeah.
Protein.
It is kind of expensive. We used a lot of it, and then used a natural fruit puree for jellies or peanut butter and jelly beer. Although I've also heard folks say that the peanut butter extract is a little bit more effective in getting a peanut butter flavor, but
there's a couple of them that we've used that, especially in the Reese's Puff, there's a few of them that I absolutely love. Olive Nation has a Texas peanut butter flavor. It's an emulsion that's in there, and for me, it tastes like peanut butter ice cream.
Yeah.
And it is incredible. It's already emulsified in there, so it blends really well into your beer. It's super, super easily controllable, and it gives you that sweeter peanut butter instead of the kind of roasty nut flavor.
Right.
Nature's Flavors also has a really nice peanut butter extract that's emulsified into a liquid. It's easy to blend in, and it gives you a beautiful flavor, a little more nutty than the Texas peanut butter on it. And then, in all honesty, the great fallback for that, if you really need to boost it up, is coffee syrups. Yeah. Torriani and Monin. We prefer to use Monin. They taste a lot better than any of the other ones. 1883 is awesome too if you haven't used those ones. The French double folds, those are incredible.
They don't sell those at URM.
They do.
They?
Yeah.
I know we get them.
Out here anyway. I don't know if they do downtown.
Oh, okay.
They're a double fold French syrup, very much like the Monin, like
Right.
that.
Sure.
Just a little bit. They're amazing. They have a toffee peanut one that's incredible for that. So. Shop around for it. Peanut butter itself is really hard to use because of the fats and oils in it that will destroy your beer. So don't use like the real peanut butter cups. You're not going to be happy with that.
And the PB2, using the PB2 in a natural puree, and then combining that with some toasted malts or just using
For the sandwich.
Yeah, darker Munich. It really does taste like your elementary school lunch. I mean,
Smuckers.
Yeah.
Uncrustables.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Putting some extra weedy proteins into your beer can really help come across. We had a peanut butter and jelly sour, and the way that we made that taste like a peanut butter and jelly sour was putting cranberry juice into our sour, and the wheat meatiness in that sour was enough to give you that peanut butter flavor protein coming through.
Yeah, that one came through as like bready and almost peanut buttery because of the high protein, and we did it as a raw ale too.
Yeah.
Some high adjunct load in a raw ale kind of came across a little bit.
Some of Alex's mashing techniques, and we did it with 4 guys, so some of Alex's mashing techniques really helped out.
Yeah. Turbid mash.
We should go to some elementary school and just take, like, after their lunch, just take
all the
crust
leftovers
from their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and just
dump it
mash
in
them.
there.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Warren wants to know what kind of base beer was your peanut butter and jelly beer.
It was like an amber.
Oh, okay.
An amber ale.
John P, do you happen to live next to AleSmith Brewing? Because when you say a Vietnamese coffee stout, the first thing that jumps into mind is Speedway stout, and if it is Vietnamese Speedway, then you need to immediately send us a case.
Yeah.
I don't know
Not
Vietnamese
just a bottle,
coffee.
a case.
Yeah.
What?
The Vietnamese coffee stout?
Yeah.
Have you had the AleSmith
Have you had
Speedway
Speedway?
series?
No.
Oh, do
Homework.
yourself a favor.
Okay.
So homework for you.
All right.
AleSmith is, probably Speedway is in my
AleSmith's
top
good,
for
yeah.
in my top for stouts because it's
Stouts.
not super sweet like if you get like some of the Fremont stouts or
Yeah.
whatever, like the big
Yeah.
Woo Girl beers.
Right.
They're good beers, but they're very sweet.
Yeah.
But Speedway is one of those. It's like a good balance of roast and sweetness. Like
Yeah.
everything kind of comes up to the level.
It's they do a series with their Speedway. So the traditional Speedway stout is just a coffee imperial stout. It's around 12%, and it is stupidly incredible.
Right.
I would put it against barrel aged stouts in that range, and it will beat it almost every time.
Sure.
Speedway's awesome.
Neat.
Then they do a series with it. Well, they'll change it around. So they change their coffees around a lot. In it. The Vietnamese is one of my favorite. They do some single varietals, but then they'll do like the Mexican Speedway is with Mexican coffee, Mexican vanilla aged in tequila barrels. The Hawaiian Speedway, I believe, has coconut in it.
Doesn't a Mexican
so-
coffee generally have cinnamon in it?
It might have some. Well,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the Mexican
cinnamon,
Mexican chocolate. Hot chocolate.
Mexican
talking
chocolate, Mexican hot chocolate, the way that I know it is generally has cinnamon, maybe some nutmeg in there, depending on recipes. I love the nutmeg, and cayenne.
John P
Definitely.
says it's not Speedway.
Dang it. Well, you should send us some anyway. That way
Just
we
so that
can
we know
compare it to
What it
Speedway.
is. Yeah.
I was gonna say I've been looking them up. There's a couple of different breweries that do Vietnamese coffee stouts. Speedway, of course, is the most popular.
There is a damn reason for that, and if people want to compare it to Speedway, they should send us Vietnamese Speedway, and their Vietnamese coffee, and I will definitely judge that.
We will, at one point in time, we will get through all the beer that's sent to us.
Yeah.
We need to have a very, very long live stream someday.
Is that right?
Yeah, you should check out that.
We need to do
beer.
a Tabor video too.
Yeah,
sometime.
we got a beer box from Tabor. By the way, Tabor sent us a beer box, and we're gonna do a video on that.
Tabor.
Tabor.
Speaking of beer, does anyone want some more beer?
Yeah.
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 That's. I mean, we still got. Yeah.
Oh, we've got a beer guy.
Yeah, we've got a beer guy.
We got a beer guy.
All right.
A bearded beer guy.
I tried to bring beer with adjuncts in it. Though that one there does not. That is a Weizenbach,
Doppel-Dunkel
Doppelweizen.
Weizenbach.
which is, as far as we know, is not a real style.
A double, so it's basically saying a double Weizenbach, so it's already a Bach already being relatively strong. What's the ABV on that guy?
8.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little over 8. Yeah.
I mean, I would classify it. Did you do some deconcoction?
No.
They call
Long
it
boils?
uncoction, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. It's uncoction these days.
Uncoction?
Uncoction.
Oh, okay.
That's the new way to pronounce it.
All right.
Oh, that's actually really interesting what Stefan just said.
What's that?
FYI, I cannot confirm nor deny Berliner Weissen thing. People in Germany don't brew it anymore. Not because of Reichenbach, but rather no one drinks the ancient styles anymore.
As well, but I mean, when you can, I'm not saying at all. I mean, I'm not arguing that point, but it's a lot harder to brew something when it's illegal to brew it as well. So that whole fallout of style, and I mean, I get it. When you have a really nice, well-brewed German lager, sometimes sitting next to a Berliner Weiss, like I'm gonna grab that Helles because it's just gonna be great.
Well, I think
But-
one of the advantages of brewing 1 or 2 barrel batches is that you can brew things that only need to stick around for a month, or
Yeah.
things that are not going to be the most popular beer coming in.
That's kind of a little bit of a trap, especially for some of the old family brewers and ancient, or not ancient, but
Right.
older world like Germany or Belgium, that you now have a couple 100 barrel fermenters that you have to fill beer up with, and if you got to have 100 barrels of Berliner or Pilsner, Pilsner's going to win.
Stefan, is American-style beers, are they happening more over in Germany? I think I saw something, some episode of something with, like, Stone Guy or whatever, that went over and did a trip to Germany, and they're making, like, American-style beers, like using Mosaic and Simcoe and all those big hops now. Is that getting more popular over in Germany? Answer that question. I know it's not going to be automatic because, internet and stuff like that, but...
We'd love to know.
Stefan Stoudemire is from Germany.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Or message me on Discord since me and him talk on Discord now.
Yeah, one of those things.
One of those things.
I'm curious how prevalent American-style beers are over there.
Well, it's something that actually I would say we're seeing a little bit in the American market. Some style is falling just out of style and becoming rare. Pale ale is one of those.
It's a shame. It's just my favorite style of beer. It's just the way to. I mean, to me, it's the exciting part of a pale ale is the matching of the malts and the hops, because you can really taste both, and the complement between them.
Pale ales, it's a boat beer. It's a beer that you're supposed to have out on a boat. I mean, or any time of the year, honestly. But it's a beer that when you're drinking all day, you probably don't want to drink IPAs all day. Right? You want a pale ale.
Sierra Nevada Pale is still just massively, massively tasty. It really is. And it's one of those things that I see that people are putting out, if they're putting out pales, they're putting out extra pale ales, which are just shy of an IPA, which is all right. Or weenie pale ales, that's you pretty much just made a blonde ale or, a cream ale or something like that, which you should have just done, and kind of missing that middle ground. And that's a consumer thing. I think that's really consumer driven, because it's either not hoppy enough or it's not light enough. That's the point. It's not hoppy and it's not light. This is a good beer that I can just drink a lot of. Pale ales also
they save you from palate fatigue. If you want to taste good hops, pale ales I think save you from that palate fatigue you can get from an IPA.
I was gonna say last night that was the last beer I had in Yakima before I headed home.
Pale ale.
And it was a malty pale and not which I was so happy that the fact that it was
like the Northwest style.
I was in Yakima, so I was expecting a super
hot
dry hop bomb.
Yeah.
And no, it was really nice. Fifth Line Brewing in Yakima, which I've never heard of until I was randomly wandered into Single Hills for your anniversary party.
Right.
Feel fastest beer mile 5:36.
Yeah, it's I mean,
that's your fastest beer mile.
Beer mile, yeah.
And
5:36.
what does that consist of?
4 beers, they have to be over 5%. 12 ounce. 4 beers, 4 laps. So
you drink the beers prior?
No, 1 per lap.
One per lap.
Oh, on a quarter-mile track. Okay.
Yeah, and there's like a chug zone, so you can't be outside of the chug zone while drinking. Reverend KY, thank you so much for the super chat.
Nice.
You like this episode? We like you episode.
Yeah.
Also, Reverend KY, am I seeing you in June?
Probably.
Oh, Stefan, I also thank you for answering the question earlier about the Berliner Weiss. We appreciate that. And he says he can't find a Stein beer in bottle shops to save his life, which is it's unfortunate. Yeah, we'll make one with you.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got people starting to come in, so let's finish up the rappy uppies. Also, winter warmer, ginger. I'm getting like gingerbread kind of vibe.
Ginger, cinnamon, clove, allspice. Pretty much all the winter
they went together
spices.
Nice.
10%.
Hey guys, you can come in.
Look at me.
Simple, lots and lots of malt.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for watching.
By the way, thank you for bringing beers.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Shout out all your social medias, and then we'll shout out ours as we're closing out.
Follow his social medias. You got Instagram?
We do. Mountain Lakes Brew Co. And follow us on Facebook. Yeah,
Facebook?
Mountain Lakes Brewing Company.
You do any TikTok, Twitter?
I do TikTok, but in another world.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, that's it.
Do the late at night TikTok.
Yeah, that's right.
You scroll across your FYP at after midnight.
Subscribe to his premium Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't you guys have you can sign up for a newsletter from you guys, right?
We do, yes. You can sign up for newsletter, I think, on our website, Mountain Lakes Brew Co. Also, you can email us at mountainlakesbrewco@gmail.com.
So, there we go. All right, guys. when you're in Spokane, go visit Mountain Lakes. They do some awesome things. Look for them at festivals. They will pretty much always have the most interesting festival beers, guaranteed. That's why you wait in the line for them. Yeah, drink the beer. Send us the beer. And thank you for smashing the like button and liking us. It reaffirms our self-worth.
Or at least considering us moderately passable.
Yeah.
Warren, come and say hi to me on Friday nights when you're at Mountain Lakes. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely do. All right, guys. Toodles.